Unlock growth. Conquer hiring fears, elevate mindset, and transform your business destiny.
A lot of renowned guests are coming on that show, and that YouTube channel is blowing up. Go over there, check it out, link in the description, and enjoy this video. I just got back with hanging out with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, and I found out that every single person in this really small room we are hanging out with is afraid of this number, 91. And I would imagine you are gonna be afraid of this number as well. It is a statistic, and that statistic is 91% of business owners will never go past being a solopreneur, which means you don't really have a business, you have a job. So 91% of people are stuck in solo land. They are also never going to hit $1 million a year in revenue or more. So we're gonna be talking about what that is today. How do I overcome that? I now have 600 employees, 9 different businesses, and our companies do somewhere around $150 million a year combined. How did we get there? What are our biggest struggles? We're gonna cover that today and more. Now, this is where I was for the longest time, guys. The longest time I was stuck here from 2008 to 2018. So I was here for 10 years. And what I was is I was a contractor driving around, doing estimates, meeting with my clients, doing expansion project estimates. I was running contractors, but I was safe because they were 1099. I was afraid to put people on my payroll. I was so afraid of having the commitment. It was like, you know, all these young guys nowadays, they are dating women for like 10 years and they never ask them to get married. We call that the Peter Pan syndrome. I don't want to grow up. I want to stay in never land. So a lot of investors, real estate investors and business owners, they stay in this Peter Pan syndrome of it's going to be me, myself, and I, because they're missing one skill. What is the number one skill? It's pretty obvious. Hiring, delegating, okay? Telling somebody else what to do, relying on them, and saying, hey, I'm paying you to do a job. And if I pay you to do that job, not only should I get that money back, I should get a return. That is a scary thing to do because now what do I have? I have a human being in my business. How do I fire them?
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
What do I do? Oh my gosh. This is the biggest fear every single investor has. This was me. I was forced in 2013 to hire a coach. The coach's name was John Boehm. John Boehm is now the head mindset coach for the Arizona Cardinals, so you can see how badass he was. I was forced to hire him. Why? Because this is where my mindset was. In 2008, I went to 2013 along this path, and I said, you know what? I'm doing all these renovations for homeowners that are going out and getting something called 203K loans. You guys know what a 203K loan is? Okay, Seth does for sure, but a 203K loan is a homeowner wants to do a renovation on their house, so they go to a home lender and they get what's called a renovation loan, a 203K loan. So I would be the contractor that they would hire to do this. And what would happen in these 203K loans is that I would get hired by the homeowner. Here's the homeowner living in the house. They want to expand their house and spend $200,000 on this thing. So they'd go out to a lender, and that lender would give them a 203K loan to do this. I would come in and I would do the work, right? My construction company would do the work. Here's the problem with this. I had to front the money, the 200,000, and then I had to get reimbursed by the lender. The lender didn't write me a check, and then I would do the work because they know how contractors are, mismanage money all the time, right? They're always like contractors are the Ponzi specialists. So what these lenders said, hey, we will pay you on work completed, which means I would have to be the bank. Well, here's the problem. I would go do, let's say, $30,000 of work, and I would stop. Why? I ran out of money. I ran out of freaking money. Why would I run out of money? Is because the lender was slow as molasses. I would have to send the thing. He would forget the email. 3 weeks goes by. The guy's on vacation. And I'm like, one day I go, I'm just going to become a lender. This is where my mindset was. My mindset wasn't, hey, let me go flip houses myself. Let me go build a portfolio myself. My thought was, how do I work more hours? Literally in 2013, I was a contractor with 150 subcontractors. And I said, I know what I'll do to solve this little problem in my business. With these stupid, lazy lenders, I'll go become a loan officer and I will issue my own 203K loans to myself and I'll control that process. I've always been a problem solver, but that's a really stupid problem to go solve. Why? Because now I have another job. Well, it was actually one of the best things that happened to me because I ended up meeting a gentleman named Steve Mikesta. Steve was a loan officer I went underneath and worked for 2 hours a day. And Steve says, if you're gonna work on my team, you have to have a mindset coach. And I thought, this is 2012, 2013. I said, that sounds like the biggest scam on the planet. Are you kidding me? A freaking mindset coach? Why? Because blue collar people, we think that if it's meant to be, it's up to me. I'm gonna do it myself. Nobody can do it better than me, right? I'm gonna touch it myself, right? My dad is 70 years old now, and I hear him say this every single week to his little crew. Just do it myself. You guys ever had your parents do that in front of you? So John Bohm ends up becoming my mindset coach. He sends me an invoice for $500. Where did John Bohm come from? Steve Meixta, the loan officer, says, this is the guy you have to hire. And I go, $500 an hour? Are you kidding me? Dude, oh my gosh, I would have paid everything for this. Here's what ends up happening. So I drive to his address. I pull up to the address. The address is not like an office building, like some fancy high rise. It's a Starbucks building. I'm like, there's no way. I'm looking around, I'm like, I'm in the wrong place. There's no way somebody's charging me $500 an hour to sit their ass inside a Starbucks and give me some stupid words. Oh my gosh, what a scam. This guy's genius. And I'm like literally walking into this meeting thinking, this is what mindset coaches do, you know, type of thing. So I walk in, I have a meeting with him. Within 30 minutes, this guy read everything about me. He knew every problem I had. He read my body language. He's like, let me guess, you're here, you're a solo guy, you're afraid of hiring employees, you're doing all this revenue, you're working this, that, and the other, and you just can't find any more time in your day. You probably decided, I'll be a loan officer because those guys look like the grass is greener on the other side. He just started ripping me apart. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, you mother. But within about 12, 13 minutes, I was like, holy crap, this guy gets me like so well. And I appreciated this so much. So at the end of our first meeting, he says, here's your biggest problem. I was making $1 million a year take home at this time, 2012, 2011, just doing a ton of construction for a lot of people. And he says, you are afraid, even at making $1 million a year, you're afraid of hiring a $3,000 a month employee. How stupid is this? When I go, when you say it, it sounds dumb. What I say in my mind, I'm like, yeah, but I could spend that $3,000 somewhere else. So he gives me my homework. First meeting, it's an hour long, gives me my homework. He says, I don't care who you hire. It could be a pirate with a eye patch, missing teeth, and a hook for an arm. I don't care who you hire, but your job is to hire somebody in the next 30 days. 30 days later, I come back to our next meeting. Dude, I'm jazzed. I'm pumped up. I've never been more excited to go to a stupid Starbucks building in my entire life. I prepaid my $500 invoice. I'm freaking excited. I walk into the Starbucks building and I see him sitting over there. He gets up, staring at me, gets up and he goes, you're fired. Leave. Huh? What? And he says, you didn't do your homework. Get your ass out of here. I don't work with people that don't do what they say they're going to do. I was going to... How did you know? He's like, I can tell by the way your shoulders are hanging. I can tell the confidence in your body. I can tell this, that, and the other. Nothing's changed from last month. If you had hired somebody, everything in your demeanor, your body, your composure would have changed. Everything would have changed. He's like, there's equations in this life and you haven't done what you said you're gonna do. You're standing the way a loser stands. I'm like, oh my. And I'm like, dude, please give me a chance. And he goes, pull out your stupid effing phone right now. We're gonna hire somebody right now. So I go on Craigslist and I put an ad out and I go, what should the ad say? He goes, I don't care. Say, I'm hiring somebody, please call me. I don't care. Just do something with your life all the time for once, instead of being in the 91% that's constantly being in this world. Do you wanna be in the 91%? You wanna be a statistic? I'm like, no, I don't. Okay, next day, this is where everything changed for me. The next day, I get a call from a girl named Anna Martinez. Anna calls me up and she says, hey, I'd like to apply for the job. What is it? And I go, I just need somebody to answer the phone, clear out my email, maybe help me out with some little accounting, 30 days later, I go back, I'm excited. I walk into the freaking building with John. He's like, sit your ass down. I'm so pumped. I want to hear all about it. I'm like, you can tell? He goes, I can tell. And I then tell him that my business tripled in 1 month. Why? Because as a contractor, my phone would be in my pocket while I was in an estimate. My phone was in my pocket when I was delivering a toilet. My phone was in my pocket when I was ordering paint. And I was missing phone call after phone call after phone call. And I would only be able to answer some calls on time. If you guys do an estimate, you need an estimate. You want a contractor that calls you back, you want a contractor that picks up the phone. I was missing like 80%, even though I was making a lot of money. The secret to being a good contractor is the secret to life is just pick up your effing phone, right? Okay, Anna, she doesn't know anything about construction. She picks up one phone call for me. That phone call was a company called Open Door. Oh my gosh, this contract changed my freaking life. And I sat there and I'm like, why did I ever think $3,000 was such a small amount of money? Open Door in 2013, I made $1.5 million in profit off of that one contract. And I was afraid to spend $3,000. And I had the money. I just didn't have the right mindset. So when people say, oh, mindset is 99% of business, I agree. But here's what ends up happening. That's not what broke my mindset. What broke my mindset is about a week into Anna working for me, about a month in her working for me, six months or so working for me. She continually told me over and over how I changed her life. So what happens is people are so afraid and they're stuck in this solo world that they forget that there's people out there praying at night for you to get over your bullshit and give them a damn job. Now, are you ready to hear the problem that I have? Here's the actual problem that I have. At my level, the biggest problem that I have is that these team members don't stick around for forever. In fact, here's the crap that I got to deal with, the balance of incentivizing people. This lady no longer works for me, but here's what happened. In 2021, we were running a mastermind. Actually, Mike Jackson, who's downstairs doing a podcast right now, was at this mastermind. What I did at this mastermind is Anna, who'd now been with me for a lot of years and had made me a lot of money and I'd paid her a lot of money. That day, I handed Anna keys to a house and I gave Anna a house. It's like a $400,000 house. That house today is probably worth $700,000. The second I gave her this house, she's like, you've changed my life forever. I'll be forever grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm thinking, dude, I'm being loyal. I'm helping. I'm doing, what do you think happens? She leaves the next day. She literally quits the next day. Mind blown. What the freak? And I started learning about incentivization and why companies don't actually pay their employees the way that that employee thinks they should be paid. Is because the second you start paying an employee what they're actually worth, they then get confidence in themselves and they go do their own thing. And so one of the things that's really been tough for me in my business is that I end up partnering with a lot of my employees because I go, well, your salary, I can't pay you a lot of money on your salary because you'll just leave weirdly, and you'll use how much you're making money in a salary to go and leverage and tell the next company, well, I'm making this much money over here, and then you'll leave. So what I've done in my personal business is I've figured out how to go to individual employees and go, let's partner on this, let's partner on this. So their salary is a good salary, but what I then do is I go, let's go partner on something that makes you a couple $100,000 a year. Let's go build something together. So think about Molly. Molly started out with me in 2021. Molly started out $6,000 a month. Now Molly makes multiple six figures on salary, but Molly and I own 3 businesses together. Is Molly gonna leave anywhere? No, she owns 3 businesses. What I should have done with Anna is I should have handed the keys to my construction company over to her and said, I'm gonna give you 40% of this business. You're gonna be the new face of the operation. I'll keep running the things in the back. What did Anna do? Anna left me to go and be this person because people cherish their freedom more than they cherish anything else. And so I have asked Anna since then when she left. I love Anna, by the way. She's great. She does a lot of construction now for a lot of the sub 2 community. And I asked her since then, I go, what if I just gave you 40% of the construction company? Because I would have stuck around. So what I'm learning in my life right now is how do I incentivize human beings? Because what I've learned is this is the craziest stuff is employees are always like, oh, I don't get paid. I don't get paid. I don't get paid. And I'm like, okay, I listen to that. I pay attention. I overpay people. And then they leave the next day. What the freak? How does that make any sense? It wasn't about the money. It was the confidence of I'm now worthy of this money that then thrusts them forward to leave your company. You see why that is psychologically the case? It wasn't about the money. You'll never run into like think about Tesla. Does Elon Musk go to Tesla and say, hey, everybody, you guys are going to be partners with me in all these other companies? No, you can't do that with everybody. You'd go broke. And no, you can't run that many relationships. And so one of the toughest things I have in my life, Seth, is balancing who do I partner with and who will take these partnerships seriously instead of let me give you a house to financially reward you, something you, like think about this. I gave this woman something she would never be able to do on her own and gave her such significant profit on this house that it would have superseded any raise I could have ever given her. And that caused her to quit. And somebody's going to call bullshit on me. And when they call bullshit on me on this YouTube video, I'm going to remind them that their broke ass is still in the 91%. They don't have one effing employee. They've never dealt with this bullshit. Now, it's tough because you want to breathe life into people and you want to lift them up. Am I that person? You guys have known me for a long time. Okay, but that comes with its own challenges. It didn't come with challenges. I would just lift everybody up as high as I possibly could, but the second you lift them up, okay, there was a meme I saw a while ago where somebody says, the second you get your employees high enough that they can fly on their own, they turn around and all over you. And I'm like, that's actually happened to me a lot of times. Okay, so the toughest thing I have in my business is balancing who do I incentivize on a partnership level and who do I just go, dude, you're gonna be with me for a couple of years and then you're gonna move on to something else. There's nothing I can do with you because they might be in their own 91% mentality, which is, you know what? I'm always gonna be a W-2 employee. I wanna be done every day at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which I have a lot of those people that are like, I'm gonna show up at 9, I'm gonna leave at 4. Cool. Does that person deserve a partnership? Why? Because after 4 o'clock all the way to 9 is when you work on the side business. You work your salary during the day and then you work the side business on the side. You'll see 99% of people are like, no, dude, I want this and I want to go home at 4 and I don't want to be bothered. I want to go eat my favorite food down the street and hang out with my dog and play Frisbee in the morning and I don't have to worry about anything else. Okay, there's very few people, I would say 1 in 100 people I meet that are like this. And so as I'm trying to build my businesses, I got to find that one person that I can incentivize and give ownership of. So like Scott, for example, I'll give a good example of Scott. Scott's one of these guys that will work his guts out all day, every day, doesn't count the hours. Is that employee mentality or owner mentality? That's owner mentality. So when Scott shows me that, he doesn't tell me, he shows me, because these people will tell you, I want to raise, I want to raise, I want to raise, I want to raise, I want to raise. Other people that deserve a raise don't need to tell you they need a raise. You know what I'm saying? So this person will tell you they want more, but the second you give them more, it just de-incentivizes them. They break up with you. They blame you on all your problems. But then there's people like Scott where I go, hey, Scott, I have this new opportunity I'm actually really excited about. There's a manufacturer of tiny homes here in Mesa, Arizona. And I go to Scott and I go, hey, Scott, let's build a brand around this tiny home company and I'll give you ownership in this company. Let's go build this thing up and let's go do this. I don't know if Scott's excited about it. I think it's exciting, but it might work and it might not work out. It might fall apart, but guess what? I believe and I trust in Scott because Scott shows up Saturdays, Sundays, late night, does all these things, texting me, voice memoing me on Thursday morning at 3 o'clock in the morning. Hey man, I know you're probably asleep, but I had this idea. Is that an employee or an owner? Okay, so that is actually my biggest problem right now is where I'm at in my businesses. I go, who deserves these things? And sometimes I'll give an opportunity to somebody and I go, let's see how this goes. And 6 weeks later, I got to take it back from them. And that's a hard conversation to have. I just had to do this with somebody a couple weeks ago. Like, hey, I told you this was going to be an opportunity over here. You didn't do anything with it. Why? Why didn't they do anything with it? Because at 4 o'clock, they stop working. Or what they do is they'll take their salary hours and they'll try and work the business during their salary hours. Is that an owner mentality or an employee mentality? And so what happens is you invest and you have to gamble. And so Seth, the answer is, I would say the toughest thing that I deal with all the time is I'm gambling. I have a pretty good intuition, kind of like you. Like I have a good tuning fork. I know 90% of the time, but then 10% of the time I'm like, gosh, damn it. And so if you want to get to a point where you actually own a business, you have to fight through this. You have to hire somebody. What most of the time people do, they try and bridge this gap between the 91 to the 9%. So if I want to bridge from 91 to the 9%, how do I do this? And what do most people do? Here's what they do. Instead of hiring an employee, all of you guys have done this or are currently doing this right now. What you do is you go find a partner or 2 partners and you go, these are free people. I don't have to pay any payroll. And so you get stuck in this next thing. And what happens is 99% of the time, these don't work out because they all are 3 chefs in the same kitchen. And it doesn't take more than 2-3 months for these people to go, I have a different vision and nobody's really doing anything. Yeah, because nobody's an employee. It's like 3 doctors running a hospital. Where's the nurses? Where's the administration? Where's the things that are actually happening? And what happens is really cool conversations happen here. Am I reading some people's minds right here? I know what I'm talking about, don't I? This is the bridge that people try and go over. Just here's what I do with 99. I just do this. F that. I'm going here. Who's the $3,000 a month employee that I can hire? What's the money-making activities they can do? And then what I have as a measurement is I have a measurement of if I have a $3,000 employee, that employee should be bringing in $30,000 a month in money-making activities. And anything that if I pay you 10 grand, you better be bringing in $100,000 in revenue. If I'm paying you, this is like in a sales thing, okay? So I look at that and I go, what's the $30,000 I can get from somebody? But I just do this, I'm done. Or let's say I'm starting from scratch, I have no money and I'm deathly afraid. How many people are deathly afraid of this $3,000 number? Raise your hand. Everybody in this room, raise your hand. Because you know you're lying. You're so afraid of $3,000. Why? Because you've never asked yourself this question of what would be the $30,000? So if you reverse engineer what that $30,000 is it wholesale deals? Is it finding deals in the Sub2? Like think about this. What if I just had somebody literally scour the Sub2 Facebook group all day long, a newer student? Ooh, I tell somebody go through every post in the Sub2 Facebook group, look for these types of deals all day, every day, and I'll pay you half of the money. We're gonna go sell this to Pace or sell this to so-and-so. You could do this with no salary, but you're gonna have to pay them half of the money that you make. Does that make sense? There's a bunch of ways to bridge this gap, but this is truly the hardest part of business. Was that helpful? Does it make you wanna hire people or not hire people? You wanna hire people or no?
I just joined forces with 2 other top tier TC regional leaders.
Yep.
But we took it a step further than that, and we are hiring assistants, top tier TCs that are certified to come in. They're shadowing us. They're doing our Trello boards. Basically, that time spent on the administrative tracking side of being a TC.
Yeah.
And they're getting a percentage of every deal. That's how they're getting paid. But that's freed us up to then goal cast and go out and find a goal for marketing that we're rolling out.
Okay.
And so it's not the exact same, but we're willing to give up part of our income to bring on assistants underneath us.
Yeah, so there's a lot of ways to bridge that gap, and people don't want to hire people. That's what they're deathly afraid of. That's where I was like, I didn't want to spend the money. And what's funny is it's very rarely does somebody actually not have the money. You have 10 grand. It's just, are you willing to go spend $3,000 a month for 3 months to take a gamble on somebody else and then have to end up firing them? Especially when you understand the equation. If you want one really good person, how many people do I have to hire to find that person? I'd say 10. If you're good at hiring, you're gonna hire 10 people to find one Molly. That's if you're good at hiring people, which means I filtered out 1,000 applications to take 10 interviews to then hire 10 people, fire 9 to keep 1. Does anybody want to go do that? No, 91% of people on the planet don't want to do that. That's why people that make a ton of money, they win, is because the reality is 91% of people don't even want to do it. So is there really such thing as competition? Not really. When you are willing to bet and hire somebody, you don't really have it. Can you guys even compete with me if you don't even have one person that works for you? We're not even playing the same game. We're playing chess and checkers. Anyway, if you guys have a question you guys want to ask, 480-852-2888. We'll answer your questions. We'll maybe do some long form videos where we have no cuts and no edits. And who knows if this video will perform. If you like these long form videos, make a comment down below, because Ben was yawning the whole time and trying to let me know, wrap up the video. So say, Ben, you were right, this video sucked, or say, Ben, you suck, this video was dope. Later.